Om Tat Sat. Welcome to Gyan Bhakti. We focus on spirituality, Vedanta, and Sanatana Dharma. Please subscribe our channel for the mystical meanings of the scriptures and daily satsang. Our humble prostrations to the all-pervading Brahman, our worshipful Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayananda Ji Maharaj, all sages and scriptures, and to the divinity in each of you. We are currently exploring the scripture Mysticism of Mahabharata. Commentaries by Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda ji and narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilananda. In today's episode, we will study the Shalya Parva and the killing of Duryodhana. So, the killing of Duryodhana by Bhima, assisted by the divine Krishna, is symbolic of the final stages in the destruction of ego with its exaggerated sense of ahamta and mamta, I-ness and mindness. Yoga Vasishtha, a great Vedantic scripture written by Sage Valmiki, speaks about two methods for destroying ignorance. One method, pranayama, involves controlling the pranas or vital forces to such an extent that the mind stays in a state of harmony. The other method, vasanayama, involves changing the patterns of the vasanas or subtle impressions in the unconscious. Bhima is a symbol of the pranic force working on the cosmic and conscious level, and Krishna represents the divine spiritual force working upon the unconscious. Together, they bring about the end of Duryodhana, who is symbolic of the ego which has been rendered diseased and impure due to ignorance. With the fall of Duryodhana, the war stopped and the Pandavas prepared to occupy the enemy camp. At that time, Krishna asked Arjuna to get down from his chariot. The moment Arjuna did so, to his amazement, the chariot and the horses burnt into flames and were reduced to ashes. Krishna then explained to Arjuna that the chariot and horses had already been burnt up when Ashwathama discharged the Agneya Astra, or the fire weapon, against the Pandavas after the death of Dronacharya. However, he had hidden that fact from Arjuna and sustained them by his will until the war was over and they were no longer needed. These events relating to the burning and eventual destruction of Arjuna's chariot can be viewed as a figurative description of Jivan Mukti, enlightenment while one is still alive and embodied. And that is what we always talk about is our goal, our effort. Enlightenment while we are alive. And Videha Mukti means disembodied liberation. The moment the fiery arrow of intuitional knowledge strikes, one attains enlightenment and realizes, I am not this body, I am the self. And before this, the knowledge is there, but only at a theoretical level. And here it is now at the intuitional level. At this moment, the chariot of one's present personality has been burnt up, so to speak, and the very root of future embodiment is destroyed. No more birth and death. However, although one has transcended the body spiritually, it still exists physically until one's prarabdha karma, the karma that sustains one's reality in the present embodiment, has been exhausted. At that time, the personality of an enlightened sage or Jivan Mukta is no longer needed, and he enters into Videha Mukti after the death of the physical body. And this also clarifies why, even after enlightenment, sages go through old age, disease, problems, just like average people, just like others, because the prarabdha still is continuing till it ends. But all the accumulated karmas for future embodiments have been destroyed. Therefore, they are never born again. But still, whatever is the balance left in this body is continuing to be finished and exhausted. After the victorious Krishna and Arjuna had descended from the chariot for the last time and Duryodhana lay mortally wounded, Krishna set out for Hastinapur to try to console Dhritarashtra and Gandhari about the tragic loss of their sons. So, see what happened after this war of 18 days of righteousness against unrighteous. All the 100 Kauravas died in the war, and there were only 5 Pandavas, and not even one was harmed. They were all alive. Before leaving, however, Krishna advised Yudhishthira and his brothers not to sleep in the Pandava camp that night. They followed his instruction out of simple faith, never suspecting what startling developments were to occur when night fell on the Pandava camp and the sleeping heroes relaxed in the euphoria of victory. So now we are moving on to Soptika Parva. So as night fell on the evening of the 18th day, a sense of true relaxation pervaded the Pandava camp for the first time since the war had begun. With the wounding of Duryodhana, the fighting had officially ended and the people in the camp lay down to enjoy a well-earned victory sleep. However, there was no rest that night for Ashwathama. His heart burned with anger when he recalled the manner in which his father Dronacharya had been killed and Duryodhana had been mortally wounded. Remembering this, he thought and thought about how he could carry out the vow he had just made to the fallen Duryodhana to destroy the Pandavas once and for all. As Ashwathama sat in the forest reflecting in this manner, he saw an owl fly into a nearby tree and enter into the nest of some crows. Because the crows could not see well at night and their reflexes were dimmed by sleep, they could do nothing to stop the owl from slaughtering them and their young ones. Taking a hint from this scene of destruction, Ashwathama thought, let me enter the nest of the Pandavas at night and do to them what this owl has done to the unsuspecting crows. Delighted with his scheme for revenge, Ashwathama explained the plan to Kritvarma and Kripacharya, the only two remaining Kaurava warriors. Horrified by Ashwathama's intentions, they initially opposed him, but finally they were persuaded to help carry out the diabolical plan. Jai Shri Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we will continue this episode in tomorrow's satsang. Hari Om Tat Sat.